You ever have one of those amazing, brilliant ideas, but then you just freeze, totally overwhelmed by how to actually make it happen? Yeah, it's a feeling we all know, whether you're trying to launch a business, plan a big event, or heck, even just survive a home renovation. So today, we're going to break down the secret sauce that turns those big ideas into actual finished projects.
So what is it? How do you really bridge that huge gap between a fantastic concept in your head and a real tangible result you can hold? I'll tell you this much, it's not magic, and it's definitely not just luck. It takes a plan, a structured approach.
And that's where project management comes in. At its core, it's really just a disciplined process. Think of it like a set of interconnected steps, a framework that's all designed to guide a project from that first little spark of an idea all the way to the finish line, to hit a very specific goal.
Okay, so let's get into the weeds. To really get how this works, we're going to need a map. And lucky for us, project management has a great one. It's a super clear 5-stage roadmap that lays out the entire journey for us.
Now you might be thinking this is just a straight line, right? Step 1, step 2, step 3, done. But it's actually way more dynamic than that. It's really an interconnected cycle. You're always moving forward, sure, but you're also constantly looping back to check on things and make adjustments. It's a living, breathing process.
Let's break that cycle down. There are 5 clear phases: initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and finally closing. So let's take a closer look at what actually happens in each one of these stages. First up, you've got initiation. This is that critical first step where the project gets officially defined and given the green light. So let's imagine you want to throw a big outdoor graduation party. Well, the initiation phase is that moment you officially decide, yes, we are doing this party. Next up is planning. And honestly, this is where the real work begins. This is where you figure out all the details: the what, the when, the who, and of course, how much it's all going to cost. For our graduation party, this is you booking the caterer, picking the music, sending out the invites, and setting a firm budget. You're basically building the blueprint for success right here. And that brings us to executing. This is the fun part. It's the action phase. You're bringing all your people and all your resources together to actually make the plan happen. The caterer is cooking, the music is playing, the guests are showing up, the party is officially on. But wait, while the party's in full swing, you're also in the monitoring and controlling phase. See, this happens at the same time as execution. You're keeping an eye on everything, making sure it's all going according to plan. For our outdoor party, you'd be checking the weather app. Does it look like rain? Do we need that backup tent? This is where you make those crucial adjustments on the fly.
And finally, we get to the closing phase. The party was a huge success, everyone's gone home happy, and now it's time to wrap it all up. This means paying those final bills, sending out thank you notes, and officially closing the books on the whole project.
So to get through that 5-step journey, you're going to need a pretty specific set of skills. Let's open up the manager's toolkit and see what kind of expertise it takes to pull this all off. A great project manager is basically a master juggler. Seriously, they have to have expertise across 10, that's right, 10 different areas of knowledge. We're talking everything from managing the project's scope, its time, and its cost, all the way to handling people, communications, and risk. It is a massive balancing act. Okay, 10 areas is a lot to keep in your head, so let's simplify it. A manager's focus really boils down to 3 main buckets. First, managing the hard limits, things like the scope, time, and budget. And you have to remember, these are all connected. One tiny change to the scope can create this huge ripple effect, messing up your timeline and blowing up your budget. The second bucket is managing people, your team, your stakeholders, everybody. And third is managing uncertainty, basically planning for what could go wrong.
Now, speaking of managing those constraints, there is one particular villain that every single project manager dreads. It's a sneaky little problem that can destroy even the most perfect plans. Let's talk about something called scope creep.
It's often called the silent project killer. And honestly, that is the absolute perfect description. It doesn't show up with a big announcement, it just quietly erodes your project from the inside out.
So how does it work? Well, it always starts small. Someone on the team suggests one little seemingly harmless addition, then another. And each one adds just a little more work, just a few more resources, slowly knocking your original plan off balance and causing your costs and your timeline to just swell.
And if you don't get a handle on it, you end up with, well, this. A project that looks nothing like what you started. New features just keep getting tacked on, the budget balloons, the deadline gets pushed back again and again, and the whole thing just spirals completely out of control.
So let's be crystal clear on this. Scope creep is the process of adding more and more work, little by little, until your original budget and your original schedule are totally meaningless. This is exactly why having a rock-solid plan from the very beginning is so important.
Okay, so we've gone through the roadmap, we've peeked inside the toolkit, and we've talked about dodging the monster of scope creep. So what's the real secret to success? It all comes down to one simple, powerful idea.
When you boil it all down, success in any project, doesn't matter if it's big or small, really just depends on getting two fundamental things right.
And here it is, planning the work and then working the plan. That's the secret sauce. You spend the time to create that detailed, thoughtful roadmap right up front. And then you have the discipline to stick to it and protect it. Working the plan, that is your #1 defense against scope creep. And it's what ensures you guide your original idea all the way to completion.
So, that's the framework. It's a clear path to get you from concept to completion. And it really just leaves us with one last question. Now that you have the roadmap, what amazing idea are you going to bring to reality?